Wahhabi atheists. Yes. What would you like to say?
You're right, Harris. How are you doing?
Yes. Very good. What would you like to say?
Yeah, mate, did you just say a few minutes ago that Vietnam embraced Western values?
No, we were saying that the America's approval rating is close to 80%. They still have, obviously, like Japan, they have their own strong Asian traditional values, but they don't have anything conflicting with it with the West. That's what
But it's
that's
a
what the point.
Marxist-Leninist society. I think that's completely against Western values, is it not?
Well, really, Marxists are not Western. Karl Marx wasn't a Westerner. We're
Well,
talking about
his ideology wasn't Western, was it? It wasn't Western liberalism. It was
West is not Western values are not necessarily just the Western liberalism. So this is why the actual term Western is problematic, because a lot of people say, well, communism was actually Western value as well. But I know what you mean. You're talking about the current Western values that we talk about, as secularism and liberalism and the modern progressive views. I'm actually not that familiar with the actual Vietnam. What kind of...
It's a terrible country. You wouldn't want to live there. It's a shithole. It's a third world country.
It is.
About 2,200.
It's actually growing, isn't it? I think I watched
it's still one of the poorest countries in the world.
Yeah. But the point the guy was making was that why are they not anti-American? That was the point.
Well, the government is. The people might not be, but the government is.
Well, the approval rating is 80%.
Yeah, among the people.
Yeah, okay. So the people is against still. I think that's what matters, because governments change. But
Vietnam is a communist totalitarian regime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it can't change. It's just one party state.
Okay. Oh, is it? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the point again, I'll put the point again. That was a good point, though, that despite being bombed by them, why the American approval rating is so high there.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, absolutely. I just want to discuss just with regard to China. I have some business in China. Sometimes I travel there. It would shock you how technologically advanced that country is.
China, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Believe me, within the next few years, it won't even need the West. It won't even need anything from the West. And then
I think they already don't need anything. The amount of surveillance that we see, I've been obsessed with China last couple of years or so. I've been watching so many documentaries on them. The amount of surveillance that goes in there, even in parts which are not even considered developed, the first thing that they put there are cameras, the facial recognition, observe behaviors. But the cameras in front of people's doors, like we might have a camera in front of our doorway, but that's we put it there for our home security. But there's a camera placed at the door by the government, and they even monitor when you come and go get out of your house. And I'm like, this is just and who knows what else is happening. This is just what's on the surface.
But have you seen the deal with Pakistan that they're doing? The £62 billion deal, the $1 billion deal.
So
it's going to completely transform Pakistan.
Yeah,
this is the biggest deal since the Marshall Plan, which was the American plan to
Germany,
to West Europe.
Yeah,
it's that big. No wonder they're bloody denying the Uyghur genocide. This is going to completely transform the country.
So you're talking about $60 billion. Are you including the Belt and Road Initiative as well?
I don't know if that's included as part of that. This is the thingy corridor.
What is it called? Park, Sinopark? Yeah. No, corridor. No, what is it? Yeah,
that's China-Pakistan Economic Corridor.
I don't know if
that's the Belt and Road is part of that. Yeah, that's the
CPAC. Yeah, Belt and Road is part of that too. Yeah, that's it. So they're building these highways and trains and the ports down south, and a lot is going to happen. Yeah, so I think it totals 60 billion, but it's all up in the air though, because they haven't officially given the number out, because apparently that pisses off a lot of other countries. But a lot of that is just a loan. A lot of the Pakistan has to give it back. It's a higher interest.
The interest is very low. That's the main thing about.
Oh, sorry. The interest is low. Yeah. You're right. The interest is low, but there still is called predatory lending or something.
Yeah, I think Pakistan just wants the money at the moment because it's the economy is in such a it has such problems, and you're not going to get that kind of deal from America. Like they're not going to give you 60.
They don't have that much money. Yeah, they don't have that.
Whereas
Yeah.
China's economically rich, is cash rich. It can give these kind of.
They want to give out the cash because they've got this cash just rotting away. There's rats eating their money, so they want to give that out. So you're talking about China, and you're saying the $60 billion. Yeah, this number. Look, somebody asked the question, where's that number coming from? No, this number has been floated around. I've actually heard that as well. It's $60 billion. And some people are actually worried, even in Pakistan as well. They're like, well, we're not going to be able to pay this money back.
Yeah.
Pakistan, how is Pakistan going to be able to pay $60 billion back? Is it going to be another case of Hambantota, the Sri Lankan port, some of these Pacific islands? I was watching this documentary, and Australia was pissed off at that because Australia doesn't have that kind of money, and they could not lend that kind of money. So there's those countries like Solomon Islands, the Pacific nations, they always used to rely on Australia, but now China just went in, started building these ports, and these are just island nations, man. They got no economy, and they're like, yeah, sure, build some skyscrapers, build some really state-of-the-art deep sea ports. We're good, but they're not going to be able to pay it back, and as a result, China is going to own these. They're going to have the strategic points to keep an eye on. Basically in the Pacific, because Pacific is like that point where America is always going to, if there's ever going to be any attack on China from America, that's going to be from the Pacific, right? So all of these things, China is just it's just one big scary beast. I mean, what is it, Napoleon who said it? Like there's a beast, there's a giant sleeping, and is good for us. Let it sleep. Yeah, China is just so big; it's just never ending.
Yeah, the thing is though, what China doesn't do is, at the moment, it doesn't seem to be going around bombing different countries, you know, in the way that America did over the past, say, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. China hasn't really been doing that. It's been doing more kind of economic, kind of strategic plans with different countries, various countries around the world. And I think, you know, I'm not pro-China because it's an authoritarian, far-left regime. But I think it's better than going and bombing the hell out of a place and then like not having a plan to kind of build a country. Look at Afghanistan today. I mean, it's an absolute mess. It looks like the Taliban's going to take over again.
Yeah,
they're going to take over.
Yeah. The whole country's gone again. I mean, they announced it. I remember they have no idea what they're talking about. I remember Imran Khan saying, America should not be here, blah, 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 blah. But now, as a prime minister, he just gave a statement. He said, well, Joe Biden announcing that on September 11, 2021, the withdrawal date, just threw a spanner in the works because we just could not, now Taliban know that it's just a matter of time. They just have to go in hibernation until that date. And then, voila, come out. Yeah. And take everything. Why do they have to agree with your freaking terms when they know you're going? Yeah. Why? I mean, I wouldn't take anyone's terms. I'm like, yeah, just get out. And well, these Afghan soldiers, we can get them in a day. And that's what they're doing. They're capturing provinces after provinces. Yeah. It's going to be bad, and it's going to be bad for Pakistan as well, because how many refugees Pakistan has got? Like 1 million refugees or 2 million refugees?
All Pashtun. Yeah.
So they're all there. A lot of them were given Pakistani nationalities and Pakistani passports, I think, in Imran Khan's government, and they were talking about it. And now they're saying that it's going to double again. There's a lot of Afghan refugees are going to come to Pakistan again because who wants to live under Taliban? So it's a mess. It's just a mess. Anyway.
Yeah, and to be honest, even Eastern Afghanistan, when it was even under the control of the Americans, when they were transitioning into the Afghan civil government, the amount of corruption that was in place and what the Afghan National Army were doing to the local civilian population, where they would kidnap young children, bring them onto police bases, and then start raping children. I mean, you wouldn't get that under the Taliban, right?
Yeah.
Right? That's one thing they wouldn't allow. Also, like, they would rob the local populace. They would literally rob the local populace. Most of these police and Afghan National Army people were ethnic Tajiks. They were not Pashtun, and they were placed in Pashtun areas, right, where they were committing these atrocities, right? And so most people, they say, when the Taliban come, they say, "Oh, well, how much worse can it get than what we currently have at the moment?" So if you don't set up kind of a civilian government which is not corrupt and is actually looking after the general population, you're going to kind of get this easy victories for groups like the Taliban, because they're not much worse than what they've got already. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but going back to China, what you were talking about, China, I don't know if it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. And you're right, because us living in Western liberal democracies can never support a far left authoritarian regime like China. But now this is something that a lot of people are not going to like it. But to tackle a beast of Islam, secularism or modern secular liberal values, they're nothing compared to that. You can never tackle Islam. Look how China is handling its Islamic problem, which is not even that much of a problem. I mean, what is it? They have a movement called Eastern Turkestan movement or something. That's the problem with Uyghur Muslims.
Yeah.
So they say, you know what, screw you. There's another Muslim minority in China, and they have sorry.
They're called the Hueys.
Hueys, okay. Yeah, so
the and then the Hueys, they're the two main groups.
Yeah, so the Hueys are perfectly fine, yeah? They're going to have problems with them. But but the Uyghurs, sorry, I'll just finish the point. So it would only take a Chinese-style authoritarian, totalitarian kind of a regime to just tackle. I'm not sympathize, like I'm all for Uyghur Muslims, and I feel terrible for their condition, but I'm saying this Islamist problem, Western liberal democracies, they have no answers to it. So my point is, from the extension of that, the $60 billion when they come to Pakistan, China is not going to be like, oh, we gave you $60 billion, okay, we'll forget about it. No, they won't forget about it. So they're going to come back and they're going to protect their interests, as US says that, oh, we are going to go and protect American interests. So imagine China protecting its Chinese interests in Pakistan. And then you have these little Baloch rebels, you have these Islamist fundamentalists, TLP kind of nutbags trying to attack the Chinese highways or ports in Pakistan. They'll be like, wow, we're coming back with the big guns and we're going to be nasty. So I'm thinking that's just going to be bad for Pakistan. It's going to be bad for Islam in Pakistan. It's just going to be bad all around. But would it really be that bad if you get Pakistan minus Islam?
Well, Pakistan, the main thing they're going to be influenced is by Chinese people coming across and people from Pakistan going to China, going to universities, etc. That there'll be that kind of exchange as well.
Yeah,
and that's going to bring.
It's already happening. A lot of Pakistani students are studying in China.
Yeah, and socialism is counter to Islam. So most ex-Muslims in Pakistan will be professors who are communists and socialists, etc. That will be the the older traditional generation of atheists would have been socialists, communists who have kind of rejected dogmatic faith in a way. So I think this is going to be a positive influence in that. When it comes to the Uyghur and the Hui, they're two different ethnic groups. The Hui are actually genetically almost the same as Han Chinese. They only have like one great grandparent who's a Muslim.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think time will tell, but I don't think Pakistan might evolve with it. Like, as you said, like there's going to be a lot of cultural influence as well. A lot of Pakistanis are going to China. I personally know two people who are ex-Muslim. They're doing the PhDs in Chinese universities. So when they come back, what are they going to bring? Because this time, you're not going to have a lot of brain drain like they had. Like a lot of Pakistani students went to these Western universities, but they stayed there because then they don't want to come back to Pakistan. And why would you? Like if you get the citizenship of these wonderful Western countries, but China is going to be a bit different. So people would always eventually come back to Pakistan. So that's going to be interesting as well, what they bring to the table. And it's quite remarkable that no Pakistani politician would have the balls to say anything against China. China is literally getting away with murders on scales that have desecrating, destroying mosques. So I played this this BBC video where they showed mosque here 2 years later gone, mosque here 2 years later gone, huge concentration camps in China. Not only they actually stayed quiet, which is just as criminal, but they actually gave the letter of endorsement to China that what they're doing is that's perfectly fine.
But you know, this is the thing. You always get this with the far leftists, right? Look at Albania. Albania was the first country to ever be run by an ex-Muslim, right? Enver Hoxha in 1943. And look what he did to the country. Completely, he closed down every single mosque. He said you couldn't take Muslim names, to children, right? To parents.
Really?
Yeah, they couldn't take Muslim names. They had to have non-Muslim Albanian names.
When was this? How old is this?
So Enver Hoxha took charge of Albania from 1942. He comes from a Muslim background, but he's an atheist. And then he got kicked out in 1989, and he completely closed off the country to the rest of the world.
So I've heard Albania is very they're not even. I mean, it's a shame to call them Muslim country. Is that true? Yeah. They're not Islamic at all.
They're irreligious. They just call themselves Muslims,
but they're not. Right.
They don't know how to pray. They don't know how to. They don't fast. They don't do anything.
So that's the kind of good Muslims that we want. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway,
thank you. I'll leave you to it, man. I'll leave you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. To help me produce more videos like these, support me on Patreon or PayPal.